Happy Monday, Red Sox Now. We're back at it, presented by FanArch with me, Mike Antonellis, one of the radio and TV broadcasters for the Woo Sox. I'll be coming up on 30 years working in baseball. It's crazy. That's where all these wrinkles come from. 30 years. Just kidding. Can't wait for it. The Woo Sox had a big gala that they had, their foundation dinner. They had Peyton Tolley and Nick Sogard there. It was a VIP event. And I just wanted to share this quickly. Peyton Tolley was unbelievable. I watched a lot of the highlights. Some people there sent me photos. He was unbelievable on stage. He took photos with all the front office people, and they had a blast with him. And Nick Sogard was great as well. So a lot of the winter stuff is happening, winter banquets. And now we get the winter meetings this week. Make sure to follow on at Radio Mike on X, TikTok. I see you guys have found me there. And gals, also Instagram. Got the Discord, got a couple people that have hopped into that as well. And, of course, if you could please subscribe to the channel, like it, and leave your comments. I'll get to them all weekend. I've been to the winter meetings. They're fantastic. When I was in Portland, I was their broadcaster for the Sea Dogs from 05 through 19. I thought this was a joke, but one year, this is how amazing the Sea Dogs were. The winter meetings were in Vegas, and they said, we're taking the entire staff, and we're giving you meal money. I'm like, what? And you can bring someone. Wait a minute, what? So I got to do that, and I've been 3 times, got my first job in baseball at the Boston winter meetings, and they're fantastic. You'll be in the lobby, and you'll see like an Alex Bregman walking around. All the agents, all the owners, players, they'll all be meeting this week. This is when a lot of stuff happens. And I think it's great that Major League Baseball is able to turn this into an event. There'll be tons of media covering the event. It will be just amazing. MLB Network will be there. All of the big beat writers. This is a huge, huge event. It's where things happen, and we should have a lot this week. We've got the MLB Draft Lottery. We're going to have the Rule 5 draft. We're going to have a lot of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that this week. And, again, perspective, everybody. There was a game on November 1st. All right? It is December 8th. Rosters are not set on December 8th, the last time I checked. And they're not going to be set on January 8th. We are still very much at the beginning stages of all of this stuff. And I'm going to tell you this year, I think that you're going to see some really good players taken in that Rule 5. There are some pitchers that I think have a chance that we saw in the International League last year that were kind of those like fringe guys that I think a team could latch onto as a reliever. And those are some of the names that when it happens, I can only imagine if I did this program when Garrett Whitlock was Rule 5, then everyone went, up, he was in Double-A, he stunk. And Slayton. How did that work out? You know how that worked out? It worked out because our coaches, when I was in Portland, we saw Garrett Whitlock pitch 6 times against us. And they wrote him up highly as a potential Rule 5, and there was trust. So my point is that the machine of finding players is all through the minor leagues. It's all through advanced scouting. And when a player is taken in a Rule 5 or drafted or traded for or signed, there's a lot more that should get credit and at times get criticism than just the executive. Leo Mazzoni just told this unbelievable story on a podcast about his GM sending him to Seattle. They were about to trade Ketel Marte and another player for Mike Jackson. And the Atlanta organization was pretty much sold on this. And he wasn't. Mike Jackson was an all-star. They had a chance to get an all-star. Leo Mazzoni went down on the field and asked people, and he found out that Mike Jackson had a sore elbow. He goes, go down to the bullpen and watch him warm up. And they showed it, and he was using these weights just to get himself ready. And he called Atlanta and said, don't make the trade. and Atlanta didn't. But it would have been, but that was feet on the ground. So we're going to see this week coming up with trades, with signings, with Rule 5, a lot of the hard work put in by so many in the minor league system and advanced scouts and minor league coaches. Coaches write up, minor league coaches and staff, they have to write up reports on players. So we're going to see a lot of that hard work pay off this week. The name is popping up again, and it's a name that I've already mentioned. I see people, some people talking themselves out of Ketel Marte. I don't know why. It's obvious that the Diamondbacks want to move him. I have mentioned this before. The fact that you have the Tigers and Rays as the other teams interested is very interesting, because that to me is kind of off the grid, right? I wouldn't have expected the Tigers and Rays to be in it. I expect the Red Sox, because it's all pitching. That's all the Diamondbacks want. You have it. The Red Sox would never be able to sniff a deal like this 2 years ago. Before Breslow came here, no chance. You did not have the plethora of pitchers to do something like this. But the fact, and I do want to circle back at it again, because I do get feedback about the contract's not a lot of money. It's not for the Red Sox, but I can't see the Rays picking up the remaining of this. The Tigers don't want to pay Skubal. Would they pay Marte? Maybe. I mean, Illich is a billionaire, the Tigers owners. But I don't see the Rays. I don't see the Rays taking on $15 million for 26. I don't see it at all. So if the Diamondbacks really want arms from those three organizations, it still leads me to believe, and I said this already, that they would have to be willing, especially to deal with the Rays, to pay some of this deal. And again, and Lou Merlone talked about this as well. Lou did a nice little video. The Red Sox have created so much leverage that they can walk away from this. No, we're not going to give you Early and Tolle. Well, you guys need hitting. We'll just sign somebody. You don't want to get into the Pablo Sandoval situation. What is that? You had nobody to play third base. And that to me was one of the worst, and people loved it at the time. I did not. I did not love it, because it was a reaction to, it was an overpay, because you had no leverage. You didn't have a third baseman. Giacchini and Middlebrooks were hurt. They didn't work out. And they were reluctant to just find a stopgap. And you end up getting, you don't want that again. And they haven't had too many deals like that, but you don't want to put yourself in that situation. And what I mean by that is, like, if you didn't have pitchers or depth, yeah, the Diamondbacks are coming after your best, some of your big league pitchers probably, and you're paying the whole thing. Now they can walk away. They can negotiate longer. Now we're good. I mean, and that's what everyone is doing. And it's not just the Red Sox. But this name circling back, and I still think those three teams are interesting. And, I wanted to bring this up as well with the Pirates. There's rumors about them giving an offer to Schwarber for $100 million. If Schwarber says no to that, 4 years, $100 million. If he says no and takes less to go somewhere else, or a little bit more to go somewhere for 4 years, $100 million, that's a pretty good offer by the Pirates. But if he doesn't, or he takes equivalent to somewhere else, what does it say about some of those teams? They're going to just say, hey, we tried. Can we honestly, if we sat on the side of a Kyle Schwarber, and understand maybe why he wouldn't want to go there? Money talks, true. I don't know if he's that type of guy. But that's interesting. And there's pressure. There's pressure because these younger, these small market teams that like are really, really not spending, something's going to happen at some point. I looked at this today, and I have it right up now. There are 24 free agents that have signed. There are guys that you probably don't even know of. Ty Adcock, Yohel Pozo, Alex Lang, Connor Brogdon. I know some of these names from the minors. Kyle Hart, I know. Danny Young. What is my point? 24 free agents have signed. There is 235 available. So we have just scratched the surface, and a lot of that's going to happen this year. I am not opposed with the Red Sox upgrading their pitching. I still think there's a lot of good starters that are on the free agent market, which I still think is a better way to go. You're not getting Hunter Green. Joe Ryan is still going to cost you a ridiculous amount. I don't know. Would Chris Bassett, Chris Bassett's older, 36, but would a Michael King, I like Shoto too, are guys that you can just sign and then use resources to get hitting. That's the avenue. Framber Valdez, we know, is still out there. That's a number. That's an upper rotation. Be a number one on most teams. Qualifying offer, you lose a draft pick. But there's a lot of pitchers available. You know what name I saw in there? Jordan Montgomery. Remember how much all of that went with Montgomery, and boy, that has not worked out for him since. But 235 free agents, tons and tons available, and really not. The Red Sox have made a lot of moves compared to what has gone on for the rest of the league, getting ahead of it. But there's still a ton of things that have yet to happen, and we're going to have a lot of that this week. So hang tight if you can. Let's get to your comments on Monday. Winter Gothier. Oviedo reminds me of Michael Pineda, a.k.a. Pine Tar Pineda. Craig is cooking. Yes. Pinata with the pine tar in his neck. Listen, Lou Merloni said this too, and I've talked about this. I am not going to sit here and tell you, and I've beat this drum, and it's going to be quick here, but I don't know who's going to be the number 2 starter in October if they get to the playoffs. Last year you went Crochet, Houck, and Buehler. Fitz and Newcomb was your opening day. That was your opening day rotation. Not a peep from anybody. We don't know who could. I mean, it could be Trey Savage was in low A ball. Cam Schlittler was in double A. Those guys pitched in big playoff games. I can't sit here, and I wouldn't do it to you, to all of you. It's a disservice to you watching to sit here and stamp definites on December 8th. I just won't. And whether some of you like or dislike, that's fine. But I would never do that. And, I don't know how in the world does anyone know where anyone's going to stack up right now. Maybe Crochet has an off year. I doubt it, but baseball is not like the NFL. And what I mean by that, I think you kind of know in the NFL, like with the great players, they're probably going to have good years, right? Like most of the quarterbacks that came into the season that are good have had good years, right? Like most of their star players don't have like these ridiculous fall off the cliff years, because some of it's situational, the team around you. But I never went into a season like thinking, oh, Drew Brees is going to have a bad year. Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, they all kind of have good years. Like a baseball, man, you see guys with ERAs of under 3, and then it's 6. Then I mean, it's crazy. So it's not even a finished product. And Brian Bayo is allowed to get better. I hope people know that. He can absolutely be a number two or whatever. He could start the number, we don't know. There's a lot that's still going to happen. And those kids are damn good, are really, really, really good. I mean, I think we saw it last year. At Sam Blethen, I still think that some of the Red Sox pitchers may be underrated. Yeah, they already have better arms than most people think. I mean, MLB Network keeps Yonder Alonso tweeted last night, the Red Sox have the best pitching depth in baseball. And the comments were, what did you think they'd be? Well, Yonder Alonso doesn't have he's not a Red Sox player. The national view of what the Red Sox are doing is completely different than some fans. Some, not all. I listen to MLB radio religiously. Those guys love the pitching depth. I understand some of you, though, that you still want another, little bit lower than Crochet. But that's, again, that's not an easy thing to just go out and get. And they've tried. They've been trying that Joe Ryan thing, and we'll see how that ends up. But the national view is a little bit different than what, and they don't have they're not getting any commission for that. I just still think that with some of these young guys, especially early, Tolley is going to be, he needs a little more seasoning. But I can't remember a Red Sox team following where you had a guy called up from AA to AAA to the big leagues that pitches in the playoffs at the end of the year and has a chance to be in your rotation. And that's, to me, almost like that's a better free agent. We want to get younger and just hang tight. Michael King's out there. There's a lot of guys out there, and there's going to be a lot of wacky things that are going to happen this week. And another thing I love, there is definitely a little colony or a little group of people around around Craig Breslow, because nothing gets leaked out. So that's why with the Ketel Marte thing, I don't know, because they haven't shown their hand on any of these deals, right? Crochet, Narvaez, Chapman, there hasn't been anything that hinting towards any of that. At Luis J.A. Narvaez Torres 8481. I want the Red Sox to re-sign Bregman, trade for Marte. That combined with the moves that Breslow has already made would make this a dream off season. The D-backs need pitching. It's going to cost the Sox likely one of early Tolley plus another high. Yeah, you're right. And I don't know if I want them to go there. Some are looking at Peyton Tolley, how do I want to put this? Too far in his career. Like Michael Felger, I actually do. And I get what Michael said. He did this video about how Tolley looks better as a reliever because how he struggled as a starter. Now I would agree with that had he already gone through more of the process of developing. I think what happens when guys like him, Chase Burns looked the same way. Elite fastball, not much other stuff. Those two guys in their first year, not of Major League Baseball. And I hope people know this too. Professional baseball, the minors counts as that. Sometimes I'll hear people say he got called up to the pros. No, the minor leagues are the pros. So I can't cap a guy in his first professional season. While, yes, you put Tolley in the bullpen with just this fastball in one inning, you still need other pitches. I would agree with that. Chapman went through the same stuff as a starter for a long time, though, before they pulled the plug, and obviously the right decision. But 1 year into your pro career is not when you pull the plug. Tolley has I'm telling you, and everyone will echo this, he has a Crochet-like fastball. He has an elite fastball where he doesn't need that much more. He just needs to refine it a little bit more, add a little bit more to his secondary stuff, get me off his fastball pitch, and he could be an elite starter. He has a chance. And think about it like this. Teams are not going to ask for Peyton Toley as a reliever. You're not going to trade a big league player like Ketel Marte to get a reliever. So he is a starter right now. You can't pull the plug on that. It's very appetizing, though, to say, can you imagine him as a reliever? Tarek Skubal's first professional year, 21 years old, West Michigan, Connecticut, the Gulf Coast League Tigers. He pitched 9 games and gave up 3 runs. Oh, I probably saw Skubal pitch in 19 with Erie. 2019, he was in Lakeland. High A ball, 15 games. 9 starts at Double-A Erie. So he pitched, 33 games before he got to the big leagues. 2020, 8 games in the big leagues. That was the pandemic. Had an ERA of 6. 2021, 31 games, an ERA of 4.5. 2022, an ERA of over 4. 21 games. He was hurt in 23. That was his best year. And then finally, at 27 years old, he turned into that guy. So if you're ready to give up on Peyton Toley after his first professional year as a starter, I am not. Will it go the same way as Skubal? No, but Skubal was a reliever a little bit early in his career. That's just, that first year, they're limiting his innings. But it took him time to work his repertoire and become the guy he did at 26 years old. That's normal. So not willing to put him in the bullpen. That's why. It's a big process. And he again, those 2 guys, Early and Toley, have potential to be really, really good. And as we see what the cost is of guys like that, and I know we can't maybe see that now because you're seeing them for what they are now, and many can't forecast that down the road. That's what Craig Breslow has to do, and it will hurt some. I understand, and I know people don't want to hear it, but if you have a chance to have Crochet, Bayo, Toley, and Early, and you feel all 4 of those guys are at the close to the same. Obviously, Crochet's an ace, but the other 3 to be right up there, you cannot pass that up. You can't. I understand you have to trade stuff to get stuff, but as we've seen with this pitching market being absolutely insane, if you give up guys that potentially can be really, really good, it's not worth it. Buy the bats. So it's fascinating. I still think if they end up moving one of them, it still will be they don't feel one of those. It's not going to be just to get something. It's not, because look at what they did with Crochet. They traded for Crochet. I don't want to say he was unknown, but they were all in on him, right? They were all in on Crochet after that 6-12, 3.58 ERA, 32 games. They limited his innings, the White Sox, and they gave up 4 prospects and gave him a huge deal. So they were all in. And I think I trust their evaluations. And this week will be fascinating. Winter meetings, we'll talk about it all week. We'll be back on Tuesday with another episode of Red Sox Now. It's presented by FanArch. Before we head out, subscribe, please. Leave your comments for the Monday show. And you can find me there at Radio Mike on X, TikTok, at Radio Mike as well. Happy Monday, and as always, go Sox.